The sweaty palms, the racing heartbeat. The subject of math can be like a horror story for many. According to a recent survey, 1 in 5 adults in the U.S. lack the math competence of middle school students. And the terror continues. The survey also shows those who struggle with ordinary tasks often have a difficult time landing many of today's jobs. Alabama State University's Department of Mathematics and Computer Science Chair, Dr. Carl Pettis, says the fear of math can develop at an early age and follow into adulthood.
It's my belief that the phobia comes from the fact that it's no longer easy. It's as if students make a conscious decision to say, since I have to work at it, it's no longer fun, it's no longer intriguing, instead of opening up and stepping up for the challenge. So it becomes a phobia of sorts, or more so something that's no longer piquing their interest.
Dr. Pettis says students who struggle with mathematics have a perception that challenges began overnight.
That's not really the case. Too often students just don't understand the fundamentals. 2 plus 2, 3 plus 3. Knowing that 3 plus 3 sometimes can be 8. I mean that's for a later date. But if they can understand that 3 plus 3 is 6, that's a good starting point. Math does become increasingly difficult. What the fact remains that fundamentals are at the core sense of understanding. And if you don't master those fundamentals, then I won't say that all is lost, but you put yourself 2 to 3 steps behind.
He adds understanding the world of math is a lifelong process. He says learning the basics is more than just earning a passing grade.
As far as a grade would dictate, there are those who excelled in the classroom, but they're now, when they're faced with trying to help their sons, their daughters, nieces or nephews, grandchildren in some cases, with their homework, they just cannot process what's being asked because they never fully understood the concept. So you're working with an array of dynamics there, but much of it is not understanding the fundamentals.
The solution, Dr. Pettis suggests parents and guardians get their students involved into extracurricular programs that target academic success. Melanie Hogan, WVAS News. Nearly 100 agencies across Alabama attended Birmingham's inaugural Supportive Housing Homeless Summit. The one-day conference focused on the needs of homeless veterans in the state, a concept Birmingham Mayor William Bell welcomed.
One area that we've been lacking in is providing housing for many of our homeless veterans who come back to a different economy, come back to a different world. And we want to make sure that we work collaboratively with the federal government through HUD to find ways to support our veterans and to find homes and proper living conditions for them.
Patricia Bradford is the homeless coordinator for the VA Department's Veterans Integrated Service Network 7. She said they monitor the number of veterans housed each week and send the information to a national database.
If we see any trends or any outliers, then we follow up with the programs and ask them how we can support them to address this. Or if we have a case manager that's getting people housed rapidly, like we would like, we ask them if they would be able to share that with the other programs so they can benefit from what they've learned. It's kind of a dual process. Let's focus on our positives, but let's get together and look at where we're running into bumps in the road and how we can work together in order to overcome these and not let the veteran wait in the streets while we try to figure it out.
One of the summit's organizers, Michael German, is the director of the HUD office in Birmingham. He described credit as one of several obstacles homeless veterans face in seeking housing.
Other issue could be their warrants out, and we're able to work with them with the justice system to get those things that are not felonies, to get those cleared. They have problems in getting transportation to get to locations, to view apartment complexes. Housing first means you take people as they are, with whatever problems they may have, and you quickly move them to housing. But the VA provides the services. So we're working hand in hand to keep these people in the apartments.
The summit was sponsored by the Veteran Affairs Supportive Housing Program, a collaboration between the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and the Department of Veteran Affairs. Melanie Hogan, WVAS News. Dr. Shri Singh, ASU's Center Director, says the focus of the summit is to bring great minds together. He highlights the use of nanobiotechnology in diagnosis, prevention, and treatment.
In diagnosis front, if you use nanotechnology, something that takes you 2-3 days to get your results, it's possible that you could get in few hours. In the prevention front, it's time to develop new vaccines with the nanotechnology, which are more effective. And again, in the treatment aspect, the new nanomaterials that have either antibacterial properties or antiviral properties or immune-enhancing properties, so they could be used to treat the disease.
The summit will feature various speakers and presentations on nanobiotechnology and nanomedicine. The seminar will be held at the Renaissance Montgomery Hotel and Spa at the Convention Center on October 17th and 18th. Melanie Hogan, WVAS News. Hip-hop royalty is making it easy for their legion of fans to understand their brand of Raponomics. Get it and spend it. Never mind saving or investing for the future. The head-nodding mantra is well embedded in the earphones of countless young African-American students who lack basic reading and math skills. Hip-hop fan Dr. Carl Pettis chairs the Mathematics and Computer Science Department at Alabama State University. Dr. Pettis says when it comes to academics, many African-American students grapple with embracing their inner nerd.
A student who's making an A on a math test is looking around at some of his peers who didn't even apply themselves, and they're saying, oh, you're a nerd. Well, when I go out to speak to students, even in my college classes, I ask, how many nerds do I have in the classroom? And you'll see one or two hands raised, and people will giggle a little bit. And I tell them that everybody in here should be raising their hands. You don't necessarily have to be a nerd in math, but you should be a nerd in history, a nerd in English. Being smart in something, the facts of life or a specific discipline, they're going to need that in terms of being successful in the future.
Dr. Pettis acknowledges rappers are artists and not necessarily role models, a separation he believes a number of fans, young and old, don't make.
This art form is not a reality in many cases. In the situations where it is a reality, those people won't be around, or they probably have less money in their pocket than you because they have been frivolous and spent their royalties. But for those who are truly using it as an art form and living life as you and I may live it, they're doing some other things behind the scenes, and that doesn't necessarily fall into a track. It might fall into one, but maybe not all of them. That Dear Mama track at the end of an album is probably more like the life that they're living than the one about get money, spend money, and fast cars.
He says some of the industry's biggest names in hip-hop are often polar opposites of their onstage persona.
T.I., Jay-Z, who put out multiple albums, and it's really never a flop. What you find behind them is the fact that they live the fast life as an artist. But if you look at them behind the scenes, they're some of the most laid-back, intelligent gentlemen that you will ever meet. They also invest in the communities that they're from, and they go back as entrepreneurs or philanthropists. And that's something I believe can't gain enough accolades for the things that they're doing.
Dr. Pettis says students who believe success and superstardom are only a rhyme away should take note from the current music scene.
If you think about the draftee percentage for a star rapper, many of them you only see one come out a year, and the other ones are maybe doing some cameo appearances with somebody else, but they're one-hit wonders. If you were to look at some of the rap artists these days, David Banner has a master's degree. I'm pretty sure there are many others. A lot of rap artists did do some work in college, and some of them have graduated from college. I don't think students understand that. That's not something that's probably going to go in 2 or 3 bars in a rap.
Dr. Pettis encourages students to develop a love and respect for various subjects, including math. Melanie Hogan, WVAS News.
I can show my dough, that other guy just told. Hey, where I live just as big as your projects, dog.